Well, hello there, my little tortilla wrap. Let's play a quick game, shall we? If you guess what word I'm about to say right now, I won't tell your parents that you stayed up playing Elden Ring and eating Doritos until morning on a school night. Ready? Okay, now let's go. 3, 2, 1. And the word is chicken. I'm pretty sure I caught you off guard because that was just so random. Or was it? As the non-constant Burger King-consuming portion of the audience might already know, chicken meat is full of protein. 100 grams of chicken meat equal to 27 grams of protein. Proteins are made up of building blocks called amino acids. There are about 20 different amino acids that link together in different combinations. Your body uses them to make new proteins, such as muscle and bone, and other compounds such as enzymes and hormones. It can also use them as an energy source. Therefore, it is safe to say that consuming food that contains high quantities of protein will help you be full of vigor. And that is very important, both for real life and for Elden Ring. But why is that the case? Why is vigor so important? We made a poll in Waifu's channel asking the viewers if they leveled vigor on their first Elden Ring playthrough. The poll was surprisingly almost unanimous, with 88% voting that they did in fact level vigor. So congrats to you, little poggies. You were one step ahead. For the rest of you, we asked why you didn't level it, and the answers were kind of similar. I didn't level it because I was too busy maxing out intelligence. You don't need HP if you don't plan to take damage. You don't need vigor if you don't get hit. I don't need vigor when you have magic. Twinkly stars. All right, fair point, understandable. You all make compelling arguments. However, let me do a really quick counter-argument to all of your comments with this one single clip. Hilarious, I know, but aside from the obvious answer of you level vigor to not get one shot, is there any other logical reason to do it? Well, yes, there actually is. First of all, let's see how much value you get out of each stat you increase. This is you, a little astrologer starting his journey on the lands between. You start at level 6 with 9 vigor for a total of 396 HP and 16 intelligence. Since you're a mage and your damage output is done from a safe distance, you would be tempted to level your intelligence, the stat that increases the sorcery scaling of your staff to increase your damage output. However, even if you can deal damages to enemies from a distance, that does not guarantee you'll never get hit. Let's look at the Margit battle, for instance. Let's say you invest 30 points into intelligence to maximize your damage. You will be dealing around 157 points of damage with each glintstone pebble while having only 396 HP. Which allows you to tank 1 or 2 hits from Margit before having to heal. Okay, fair enough. That doesn't sound too bad, right? But watch what happens when you do this. Let's say you invest those precious 30 points into vigor instead of intelligence. You will be a dummy little boy, yes, but also a big beefy one, because you will have 39 vigor with 1402 HP instead of 396.
That's quite big.
And yes, I know what you're thinking, but Ranni, how am I going to deal damage if I don't level up intelligence? Well, my little cheeseburger, take a good look. You're dealing 107 points of damage, which is 50 less than when you had 46 intelligence. But now you can tank 5 times more hits from Margit, giving you a lot of room for mistakes. And this is taking into account that you did not upgrade your staff at all, or that you didn't pick up the meteorite staff from the Swamp of Aeonia, which is not hard to do at the beginning of the game either. Because with the meteorite staff, by investing 28 points into vigor and 2 into intelligence to meet the requirement to use it, you will be dealing 140 damage points per glintstone pebble, only a mere 17 less than when you invested 30 points into intelligence. So you get 5 times the health benefit from leveling vigor, and a mere 50 points of damage penalty at the worst, because you can mitigate it with a better staff. This is because at early stages of the game, it is not worth to spend levels into stats for damage due to the very slow scaling of your yet-to-be upgraded weapons. It is much smarter to invest in vigor, allowing yourself for more room for mistakes, and find alternative sources of increasing your damage, such as upgrading your weapons or using ashes of war with self-buffs such as Flaming Strike or Sacred Blade. In fact, the self-buff from Flaming Strike is so strong that investing 30 points into Dex for the Uchigatana will still not match the damage output of a Flaming Strike self-buffed Uchigatana with no points invested in damage stats. It is not until your weapons are at least at level 16 when you start to see the true damage increase of stat scaling, because at that point, the value modifiers of those weapons will actually be worth investing points on, and this also usually requires an infusion type akin to their main stats. For instance, in the case of the Uchigatana, a keen infusion. Furthermore, elementals infusions such as lightning or fire, for example, tend to have higher base damage without invested stats than non-elemental infusions, so it is worth to take them into consideration when choosing an infusion to save points for Vigor in the early game. But before you start consuming the protein of every avian creature on a 30-mile radius to crank up those Vigor numbers to 99, let me remind you of a little feature called Soft Cap. Soft Cap is the number where that value per point of each stat starts decreasing. When leveling Vigor, you will notice that the more you level up, the less HP you will get in return per point, up to level 60, where it basically plummets to a mere 6 points per level. It is at this point where it's no longer worth to keep investing in Vigor and start investing in other stats such as Strength or Dexterity. If you still want more Vigor after this, instead of going for 99 points, you can use Morgott's Great Rune for 25% max HP boost. However, you could still make the argument that knowing enough about the PvE can keep you from taking damage, and a good amount of knowledge and skill can be a good replacement for a large health bar. Sure, that's true. But when it comes to fighting other players in PvP, nothing matters more than Vigor. The reason for this being that the person with the smaller health bar has to outplay the other person by a factor of 2, 3, or even 5 to be able to win. And that will not always be the case unless the skill gap is tremendously defined. No better example of this comes to mind than low-level PvP and invasions, where gamers typically prioritize Vigor over any other stat in order to have the outplay factor advantage and resort to elemental infusions or items for bigger damage outputs. And of course, as you've already seen, you know what happens when you have low Vigor on high-level PvP. Vigor Check! And on a final note, Vigor increases fire resistance and immunity, which helps resist poison and scarlet rot buildups.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Of course, Tarnished. This is merely a friendly advice from a blue doll that wants to see you succeed. You can either take it or leave it. It is always up to you to decide what to do with your build. If you want to play a glass cannon, go ahead and do it. It's your game after all. Regardless of personal preference, it's important to point out that pretty much like in every balanced diet, a lot of only one thing won't cut it, Tarnished. Vigor, endurance, and the right amount of the damage stats of your choice make for a balanced, fun build. Just like in real life, where you need the proper amount of protein, carbs, and fats in order to have the corresponding nutrients to be active and healthy. So keep eating healthy, keep having fun with your wacky builds, Vigor or not. And as always, thanks for watching.